Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody out there in the On the Chain community? You know who you are. And tonight we've got a monster lineup of topics. Ripple's in the hot seat as Brad Garlinghouse heads to DC. Maybe they're not in the hot seat. We're going to find out. Could XRP actually become the foundation for banking in America? There's a lot of YouTubers out there that think so. The Genius Act and Clarity Act moving fast, laying the groundwork for the digital assets. Are we going to see some legislation here yet this year? Congress going on break for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks or 2 weeks from now, maybe we'll see a little bit of action. And Elon Musk, what is he up to? He's not just about rockets and electric cars and the Doge, but all of a sudden he's talking about launching a political party. He's calling it the America Party. Is this going to help, or is it going to split the vote on the conservative Republican side and only help to benefit the Democrats, put them back into their socialist agenda? We're going to find out. We're going to dig into that. We've got crypto, Congress, chaos. Chip, are you ready to dive into this thing?
I'm ready. We need to go with so hard gets hard. Let's go. Wow. Guys, drop where you're coming in from. Welcome to On the Chain, everybody. Drop where you're coming in from today, Sunday, July 6th or the 7th, depending where you are. If it's the 7th, it's already my birthday, Jeff. How awesome is that? It's Ringo Starr.
Happy almost birthday. You get to start celebrating right now, Chip.
I think so. Yeah, start pouring the whiskey. I think it's really cool to be born on a Beatles birthday. Ringo Starr is going to be 85. The guy looks incredibly good. He still has it. 85 years old, still out there on the road, still doing the songs and everything. It's fantastic. If you're in Australia, then I think it's already time. It's already time. Amazing. Imagine
it's time, Chip. It's time.
It's in the morning. Yeah, it's 7, baby. So we're gonna.
That's right.
We're gonna stuff. You know what's funny is realize that we're missing a story.
Missing something critical.
We are missing.
We're missing one of the most important stories of the day.
Yeah, it's like I didn't have the link. Sometimes I copy the story over, I forget to grab the link, which happens sometimes.
Everybody give a quick shout out where you're tuning in from. JC's over there in Atlanta. The Purple Ferret worrying about no free speech over in the UK. Jeff coming in from Indiana.
So we'll workshop some UK stuff today.
We got to talk about the UK for sure. John Page coming in from Australia. And then we've got Chad in celebration. Celebrate good times. One Willie, New York City, the home of the Democrats. New York City once used to be a nice place, not so much anymore. And then you've got Ed coming in from Pennsylvania. So there you go. That covers everyone who's posted on here so far. And Chip, John says happy birthday. So everyone's giving you a quick shout out.
Yes, thank you very much, man.
For your birthday, 39 years young.
Yeah, that was great. Celebrating that another time. It's fantastic. I mean, it's great.
That's right. That's how it works. You have to celebrate as many times as you want. Tell you what.
It does not get any better than that, quite honestly. Here he goes. Okay, I found the post. Yay.
Man, how is it that we have all the representation from blue cities and blue states in here? That's interesting. Got Washington State.
Patriots, man.
Got all the Patriots tuning in here. You know what? With all the Patriots here, they're going to start changing things. So we're going to see all those blue states turning red. We're going to see some action over there in the UK. Ray over in New Zealand. We got to change New Zealand. Definitely got to change the UK. A lot of things have to happen. Australia too. I'd say, we got to put Australia back on track. A lot of track setting has to happen. All right, what do you got? You got Eleanor Terrett.
I do.
She recently had some really amazing news.
She recently became there it is right there. Look at that on this day, July 1st. She became a citizen of the United States. As many of you know, she's British. Her parents are British, so she wasn't official, but she made it official. There she is.
Awesome.
You go to the swearing in. It's really great. I remember when my wife got sworn in. It was fantastic.
Super exciting.
And it's super emotional. They you get the little flag and you do it's a whole ceremony. It's pretty cool. And then check this out, Jeff. What's the first thing you do when you become a citizen? Well, so there you
Straight to the shooting range.
Hey, first time at the shooting range today. I figured I might as well do this American citizenship thing properly.
Well, the thing is, she didn't have to be a U.S. citizen to go to the shooting range. I'd be
No,
excited if she said, I went to the gun shop and bought my first gun and I tested it out on the shooting range. That would be,
well, listen,
I'm happy to see her do that. That's awesome that she's there. Let's take it to the next level now and say, hey, I used my Second Amendment right, went to the gun shop, bought a firearm. Here it is. And we're testing it out. Took the course, going for my concealed weapons permit. Boom. There you go. Back to back to back.
the
That'll be
corrupt
next.
Democrat-run state of Washington. Well, there you go. There you have it. There you have it. Jim D celebrating at probably a wine bar up in the Cape somewhere. He's always at some cool place hanging out. If you guys don't know this about Jim D is a hipster, man. Jim D is a hipster, man. He's definitely knows what's going on with it. It was fun hanging out with him. And it's
Art
great.
is hanging out on the lake.
Art's on the lake. We got to meet Art in person. That was really cool. Got to hang with Art for a little bit. So near Hawthorne. Cowpen Lake. Beautiful. Near Hawthorne. That's very descriptive. I like that.
Don't know where that is exactly.
Hawthorne. I love Hawthorne. It's up a little bit north of Orlando, I want to say. I had a buddy who lived in Hawthorne, so I was there.
That's how you know.
So I know it's a really cool town.
XRP Ranger in the stream. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys when you guys repost it. Good to see Ranger in here.
Yeah.
And so Ellie was posting this. I got to be honest with you, Jeff. I honestly didn't think the BBB, the big beautiful bill, was gonna pass. There's so much commotion about it. There were a lot of rhinos. There were no's, and then Trump came out and said, "Good, what primary yet? We're done. I'm going to campaign so hard and look at my track record." So I don't think Massey got on board, but I don't think he cares anyway. But it was just amazing. Everybody sort of went in line. You had the parliamentarian trying to change rules in the background. The parliamentarian is a Democrat. Get rid of the parliamentarian right away. They were trying to defer their responsibility to saying, "Oh, the parliamentarian called it." Well, listen, you can overrule it, John Thurin. Not the speaker. The what do you call the person in the Senate? What do they call it, Jeff? Why is the name escaping me right now?
What is he?
John Thurin. He's the equivalent of the speaker, but what is it called in the
why,
Senate?
why do I always get stumped?
I don't know.
He is the majority leader of the U.S.
That's what they call it, the majority leader. Stupid title. I'm the majority leader. He's the equivalent of the speaker. That's basically what it is. Yeah. So there's that bit of it. So when that passed, I was kind of like, yeah, I really didn't think it was good. I thought it would take more time, and I thought it would be. So now, right on the heels of that, the House Ways and Means Oversight Committee will hold a hearing on Wednesday, Making America the Crypto Capital of the World. That's the title. Now, this is very different language, Jeff, than what we heard over the past 4 years. The hearing is called Making America the Crypto Capital of the World. Like, that's setting a nice tone right out of the gate, right?
Yep.
And it says they're focusing on building a 21st century tax policy framework for digital assets. You know the best policy framework to build? There is no capital gains on crypto. That's it. Done. You win. You get mass adoption. It's over tomorrow. So that's one of the things that's going into effect. Affirmative steps needed to place a tax policy and framework on digital assets. Again, the best one.
And that's big. It's big.
Crypto Cowboy
called it. Happen. Yeah.
With a focus on the affirmative steps needed. He said, no cap gains tax on crypto. The only way to make America the crypto capital world. Freaking that's the only freaking way. Well, I wouldn't say the only way, but that's
trying to get some more details on this also. There was a whole statement that was put out. I'm trying to see if there's.
I'm also going to put, while you're looking for that, Jeff, I'm also going to pull up a video clip that has, this is, where is it? French Hill talking about what's coming. And this is, it's pretty interesting what he's talking about here.
Making crypto policy for the United States of America. You have an upcoming crypto week. Tell us about that.
Well, right now, digital assets, cryptocurrency, and everything related to using financial payments on a blockchain is basically not regulated, not clear to consumers, investors, entrepreneurs how to use it, how to avoid federal prosecution. So in 2 weeks, we'll bring to the House floor the Clarity Act, which gives the rules of the road of how to invest in digital assets, how to trade them, how you can be a broker, and the market framework for digital assets. And we'll also bring to the House floor dollar-backed payment stablecoins, which we believe those two things will advance America's power around the world in financial services by extending the authority of the U.S. dollar as we move from finance in a traditional format to finance being carried out on a blockchain.
Chairman French Hill of the House Financial Services Committee, great to have you today, sir.
It's pretty big. I mean, like they're really moving like with some full force, Jeff. I mean, like there's not like we're going to get to it. It's like, boom, it's on the agenda. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're working on. So those are two huge, phenomenal. I was, again, really excited to hear about that.
And there's the official release right there, right from Chairman Jason Smith, Ways and Means. And here's it's the Oversight Subcommittee. Chairman, what is that? Schweikert announces subcommittee hearing on making America the crypto capital of the world. And if you want to tune in, because it will be via a webcast. You can go over. It says members of the public may view the hearing via live webcast, available at waysandmeans.house.gov. I posted it in the chat. If it went through the right way, the webcast will not be available until the hearing starts. So plan on tuning in July 9th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, waysandmeans.house.gov, and you can watch this webcast. And it's going to be interesting. It'll be a very interesting hearing on the idea of making America the crypto capital of the world, which, Chip, I think it's going to be really critical. It definitely has to have gained some significant momentum, and they're already, putting all the right pieces in place, and definitely the right players. Now it's a matter of how this is going to resonate with the Democrats as well. Obviously it goes through a hearing, and then it has to keep going through next levels. But Chip, we're on the right track. That's for sure.
It's a great track to be on. I mean, it's so different from the previous administration. I mean, it's incredible where we sit. And then on the heels of that, we have this coming up, which is, let me go ahead and share my screen here. So annoying to do it on this browser too. My goodness, an extra step. So here we go. LA Terrace reporting that the banking GOP will hold a full committee hearing on market structure. The hearing will take place on Wednesday at 10 a.m. And so far, the witnesses, you might recognize this guy here, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, is one of the
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
No,
never heard of him. Then you got Summer Mersinger. She is with the Blockchain Association. She's the CEO of the Blockchain Association. So you got two strong people there, advocates. Yeah. Then from Chain Analysis, you got Johnny Levin, who's the co-founder and CEO. And then finally, you got Dan Robinson. He is he's from Paradigm. So he's also an attorney, coder. So this is a general partner over there. They're really strong. A lot of times, it's funny. I'll tell you what's different. When the Democrats were running the hearings, it was all academia. You notice that, Jeff? It was always like professor, this professor and that professor. They pretty much they were pretty much lockstep with it's evil, money laundering. It was like the same old tired narrative that they kind of tripped through. Now we've got big players from respectable organizations, Chain Analysis, Paradigm. You got the Blockchain Association, all very pro crypto. And of course, it's great that Garlinghouse is going to be there too. I'm sure we'll be playing the clips next week as they come up.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah. And this is such a difference. Like you said, before it was all, if you go to the PhDs, you're just going to get hypotheses and theories. And, most of them don't live in the real world. They live out of books and theorem. They don't live in practical every day. Let's get our hands dirty and actually figure it out. So a lot of times, they just pontificate, and try to test theories on a chalkboard or a whiteboard or whatever it is, and then in the theoretical world, you could always come to X conclusion. You can always figure out how to get to the conclusion that you want. In the reality, in real world, the two are so separate. Like you have your theory of how you want to get there. And then you can say, okay, here's, the end result, but the path isn't always going to be clear as it would be in your theory that you chalk out on on a chalkboard, because there's all these other players and there's things happening, and you have to figure, that part of it out, because reality, just, it doesn't. And so here, a big part of it, if we want to get to the the brass tacks, if we want to get to the final conclusion of how do we get crypto legislation mapped out the way it needs to be, why are you going to bring Chip? Why are you going to continue bringing PhDs to the table that just know theory? What, and we talked about this for a long time. Why wouldn't you bring CEOs of companies that are actually doing it every single day and are the ones that are getting their hands dirty, and they're the ones that are, butting up against the wall of, of the political echelon, as they try to figure this out. And here you go. It's finally happening. And it's so significant to start bringing the actual leaders, from the community that have also been outspoken. You bring a Brad Garlinghouse in, obviously this is going to resonate, more than any of the other players, because he was the spearhead that was taking on, not by choice, but had to take on the SEC for complete overreach, so that, having him there, it serves so many purposes, plus the fact that he's building out, a massive undertaking of a company to establish a new way of moving money and transmitting the movement of money and the communication of that movement of money from financial institution to financial institution, cross border, and everything that they put in place to orchestrate that now with the RO, USD, et cetera. Chip, we're on to the next level. And now we're starting to see we saw the building blocks being put in. Now they're getting ready to put some mortar into the framing, so it's getting there. Definitely is
Justin saying
getting there.
He's laughing at Art on Lake because I don't get any notifications. I have 3 accounts on YouTube. I don't get any notifications. Jeff doesn't get any notifications. This is in case you're wondering, there's some people out there that like to censor and not talk about that. But I'll tell you what, the best thing to do is you just go into your calendar, you set a recurring every week. And so you put in there for 8 on Sunday and 8 on Wednesday, then 8 a.m. on Saturday. Then you say like, hey, just, on the chain. Forget. And then it, put a reminder in there that reminds you, because, you get busy. You're like, I don't know, I get busy. You're waiting for the notification. And I haven't gotten one, and I can't even tell you. Every once in a while, and sometimes I'll get it like 20 minutes into the show. Like, I'll be like, oh, here it is. But it's rare. So don't feel bad. We don't get them either. I don't think anybody gets them. If you guys get it, instead of you telling us you don't get one, if you do get a notification, please say, hey, I get the notification, because we don't. It's really
the thing is, our channel's, gaining momentum. It's definitely growing again, which is awesome. We see momentum over on X all the time. I love seeing the interaction over on X, and now it's translating into YouTube. YouTube's been a bit stagnant, but the more you guys are actively involved in supporting, we'll gain that momentum. We see the algorithms on the videos, which is really good, and the following is impressive. We want to make sure that we have the best and the brightest that are tuning in, and sometimes
that's a true statement right there on screen. If you can read on screen,
best and the brightest. What does that say?
That is a true. It's
Crypto Week.
No,
yeah.
That is absolutely the problem. And I wanted to get to this too, because Ranger said, wouldn't the big bill be need to be amended, or new bill to be passed to eliminate capital gains taxes on crypto? You just got to understand the kind of bill that this is, right? So it's not, there's going to be a brand new bill that's going to address that specifically, which is good, because the problem with like that big beautiful bill, the last bill that was passed, is everybody wants to try to put their own thing in it, what they call pork. They want to show their constituents that, hey, I put this in the bill and I brought home some gain, whatever it is, some positive thing that they were going to go throw at the community. And then it starts getting out of hand, which is why I was so shocked that once it went through the Senate, went back to the House just okayed it. Nobody had amendments, nobody had changes. That's pretty rare. So it wouldn't have been in that bill anyway. So there's going to be a separate one. This is what French Hill was talking about, Crypto Week, July 14th through the 18th. They're going to look at the Clarity Act, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, basically Tom Emmer's bill to basically not going to be any CBDCs, codify it into law. So if you wanted to launch the CBDC, you'd have to go through Congress. It's not enough just to write for Trump to sign an executive order. It has to actually be codified. So a lot of what was that big, beautiful bill was a lot of what Trump's his executive orders were codified. Now, when he signed it on the July 4th, that's when it actually became law. Okay. Well, congratulations, Art. You'll be
The one person that gets
the
notified.
one person that gets it. That's good to know. And then, of course, the Genius Act too. So, you know, you got French Hill, you got the House AG,
This is really great.
and this is the agriculture GOP, which is very heavily involved. These guys have been on the ball too. It's funny because you're like, well, why would agriculture? Because why would they be involved with it? Well, that's part of how government sort of works. And then you've got Glenn Thompson as well. So you got a whole pretty good stable of different people here. Of course, Tom Emmer and Steve Scalise, God, those guys were phenomenal in the House, along with the Speaker Johnson, of getting that big, beautiful bill. You got Tim Scott, that's been really huge. Tim's been, well, what a huge supporter he's been. You know, it's you got this a massive lineup.
Yeah.
Also, they tagged Senator Hagerty and also Senator Lummis in there. Brian Steele, and then Dusty Johnson. So you've heard these names time and time again, but man, I mean, it's just incredible to see.
Can you go back to Lummis? Can you hover over hers again? Scroll down on her thing again.
What does it say?
U.S. Senator from Wyoming, Lummis, rhymes with hummus.
Hummus.
I
guess it's just like you call it. It shouldn't be called Loomis. Rhymes with hummus. Okay, so then they'll keep calling it. Okay, Senator Loomis.
But
Lummis.
it's hummus.
Rhymes with hummus. Yeah.
Lummis.
Well, she did get rid of the Bitcoin laser eyes. I mean, remember she had that for a while. She got a lot of incoming on that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this is kind of a whole sort of a this is the whole thing on the crypto week that all the things are going through. They're talking about how it's going to go. We're not going to read it all, but you got Steve Scalise in there. You got Tom Emmer. We're not going to go through this whole thing. It's a lot. John Guzman, but
it's so amazing to have the Clarity Act, you know, put up there. You know, the whole thing with the CBDC, you know, trying to figure that part out. There's a lot of different statements that are coming from, you know, a lot of, you know, multiple different directions, but anti-CBDC surveillance state act, you know, and really understanding and digging into what that is going to represent. The Stablecoin Act, really important. And look at that Stablecoin Act. This was back in April, by a vote of 32-17, you know, coming out of the Financial Services Committee, pushes it forward. Same thing with the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act, 27-22. We're seeing the past 4 years, or the last 4, especially when Maxine Waters was in charge of the Financial Services Committee, we saw nothing, like no activity. But she was in charge even before then. You know, she'd been in charge of the Financial Services Committee for a period of time that, you know, just made it, basically neutered it, you know, when it came to crypto. So it had no advancement in the Financial Services Committee. The SEC under Gary Gensler decided to try to crush it. And then you had like Elizabeth Warren and, you know, other handful of these bad actors, you know, that were trying to crush crypto.
But, you know, sometimes you think, well, there's not a lot going on. I like that they included a timeline and kind of what's been accomplished. Going back to February, talking about exactly what's been happening. You know, Chairman Scott Boozman did the press conference with, you know, with Trump on the 11th. They did a subcommittee on digital assets and financial technology, AI. They had a hearing called the Golden Age. So when you start seeing this, you go like, well, nothing's happening. But you look at it, and there's been some pretty consistent touch points here.
A lot of
as far, and you had the, you know, the big beautiful bill as well. And you got all that stuff right in here. It's like there's a lot of stuff that was happening all along, and they're moving it forward. So it's nice to know. I also see they mentioned Kirsten Gillibrand, who has been one of the few Democrats on the Senate side, her and Cynthia Lummis, rhymes with hummus, on digital asset legislation, which I have to say, you know, look, give her props. I mean, she might not get it all right. Cynthia Lummis sometimes is a little bit shaky on the technology, but who cares? I mean, they're pushing it forward. You can say what you want. Yeah, she's a Bitcoin maxi. Who cares? We want legislation. It's for all of crypto. That's what we want. So whatever it looks like, right?
Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's exciting. This stuff is starting to happen. And I mean, we're only 6 months in. I mean, the 20th of July will officially be 6 months, right? Trump's been in office.
And all this has happened.
And a lot of stuff has happened. So there's a lot of winning going on. We got 3.5 more years of winning. There's the rush up to next year with the midterms.
Chunko.
Senator Loomis, one handsome dude. Holy cow! Did you just say that, Jungle? Wow,
But it's not Loomis, is it? No, it's Lummis.
No, it rhymes with hummus. I just call her Loomis, just the mess of her. That dude Loomis, one handsome,
Anytime you bring her up now, it's got to be Senator Lummis.
handsome dude. I mean, it's super
rhymes
handsome.
with hummus.
Yeah, that's gonna be like that's the whole name. Well,
That's
Jeff, if I give my name, like I go Chip, and then I have to spell it because people put Chip, or they never hear it. I go Chip. What's your name? Chip. And my whole name became Chip, CHIP. Okay. So now it's turned into like a short name is now a long name to say every single time.
right.
Or I say H-E-P. If I say it in Spanish, Jeff, that's my Spanish pronunciation. Say H-E-P. That's Spanish, just in case you were wondering. I can say it in 2 languages. So
what's your name? H-E-P.
Well, if I say H-E-P, that's Chip. And well, you know, I eat a lot of Mexican food and Hispanic food, so had some great Peruvian food yesterday.
The genius
is awesome.
Ceviche
so this is good, man. I wonder what Jungle thinks about this whole thing. It's moving forward. By the way, Jungle's been putting out some outstanding posts. He's turned into a phenomenal news source. We had one the other day. I don't think we got to it yesterday, but there was one that I wanted to pull up that was really strong. So yeah, he's always putting out some good stuff up there. Yeah, let's talk about this too. You know,
Chip type hummus for tonight's straw. But
you know, it's not a bad idea.
But then it goes against the song. We'd have to now adjust the song. So
yeah, we can't adjust the song, but it's a fun idea though. We can mentally think you're doing that as you're typing in Yeti. Yeti.
You can type in hummus if you want.
You can type in whatever you want, but I mean, it's going to have to be Yeti.
It might not be counted,
but still type it in just for fun, you know. After you type Yeti. So let me see what we got here. We got 6 entries so far. 6 people are in.
6. We're already 26 minutes into this thing.
Mark says, be nice to PhD recipients, Jeff. I received my PhD Pizza Hut delivery 2 weeks ago. It took 30 minutes and I worked damn hard for it.
That's right.
See?
I have no issue with PhD recipients.
I have no, I mean, it's certainly takes a lot of the love, man, to get there, you know.
It's a lot of time to get there.
Yeah, it's an all.
just don't assume when you get the PhD and because you have the PhD that you know more than everybody else.
Well, that was the whole thing that with the last administration, the former first lady, they called her doctor, but because she had a doctorate, right? She had a PhD degree. She was not a doctor. Like a medical doctor per se. She was
something like English literature or something.
Doctorate, and it was an education or something that nobody even knows, man. It's really hard to even understand what the hell it is.
No
one really knows.
Pointless.
No one really knows. It's just it's up there. Let's see what else I want to do. Yeah, so there's some other notable news that was interesting that I thought, you know, if you guys know Bias Goose, he spent a long time at over there at Ripple X. He was over there for a couple of years. I had the pleasure of meeting him when he first joined the company. There was in Palm Beach. I know, Jeff, you couldn't make that, but I went up to this. It was called the Ripple House, where they'd have a big event, usually coordinated somewhere along the lines. If they had that
was on the ship.
Yeah, it was on the ship.
Where was I for that? I missed like all the major Ripple events, like each one. Yeah,
you missed the proper party. You missed that one, and I hung out. I got to talk to Brad Garlinghouse for about 12-15 minutes. Really, we kind of got there really early, and I kind of just let me go up and just have a conversation with him. Told him he did a podcast. He's like, "Oh yeah, like what? It's kind of XRP Ripple thing." Okay, good. Yeah, would you like to appear on it? I go, why don't you come on? He goes, yeah, you know how to reach me. He gave me his email. I don't know if it's his email or not, but but we've since reached out to Ripple to see if we can get either Brad on or Chris. Either one's love to chat with it. But Bias Goose, he's been pretty instrumental. He said people keep asking what's next. Well, I can't give it away yet, but I can tell you we're baking the most big, beautiful announcement the space has ever seen. The tech elite said it couldn't be done. We're about to prove them wrong. Watch out. Best yet to come. Put this picture of Trump, talks about the big, beautiful announcement. And that big, beautiful announcement was that XRP Cafe put this out. We're proud to announce that Bias Goose will be joining the XRP First Ledger and Joey Wallet teams to lead business development and growth with his extensive background in crypto. He was at Ripple, and then before that, Pancake Swap. He'll help propel the XRPL to the next level.
Yeah,
he said it was a dream come true. I'm excited, more excited than I've been in a long time. which
It's really
doesn't
cool
say,
to see that kind of talent joining up with XRP Cafe.
wow. And they just had another big dev join the team. Like they're starting to become a powerhouse, and they are a
Right.
top NFT platform. I think they're number 7 out of all of the NFT platforms. We're talking about across Ethereum and everything. So
That's right. Hey,
you're
Catherine,
working, hardly working. Well, good for you, Catherine. That's what we like to see when you're
and tuning
working,
in.
but
That's
you're
the most
listening to the show in
important
the background.
part. That's right.
And then Mookie, who I know his real name. I know all these guys' real names. But if you think that XRPL is better today than it was a few years ago, it's because of unsung heroes like Bias Goose. I know his real name, but I'm not going to dox him here. I've always seen Goose on the bridge between XRPL community and Ripple because his work's always been so important to get our ecosystem where it is today. Today,
Yeah.
I'm happy to call him a teammate and a friend, and I'm excited to continue the journey. And it was so funny because when I was there, the first 2 people that I ran into in Palm Beach on the yacht at that Ripple house was Moonkey. And next thing you know, Bias Goose came in. I'm like, hey, Bias Goose. He's because I don't think he knew who I was, but I was like, hey, dude, what's up? How you doing? I told him I'd meet him there. And so, yeah, we kind of hung out for a little bit. And then also Moonkey was very instrumental in helping us getting our Badass Yetis live. He did a lot of work in the background, him and his team. So
It
very
was awesome.
appreciative. Yeah, he was very, man, super instrumental in helping us launch because we had some obstacles to overcome. And it was good that he helped us navigate that. It was really
Especially
awesome.
if you compare the amazing support, assistance, and direction tech when we got that project live compared to our experience trying to go through and initially doing it with the ordinal and then trying the Solana and trying to tap in and try to figure things out and get support. And it was like night and day, and the group over there, those guys were amazing on XRP Cafe. And they don't have the same traction, and as they do over on with ordinals or Ethereum or any of those OpenSea or whatever. But we're starting, we're starting to see at least there's daily 24-hour traction. I saw the new ATM NFTs were at like I think for the past 24 hours around 6,200 XRP or something
Yeah,
like
pretty
that. It
solid,
was a
man.
newer project, so you're starting to see project after project get a little bit more momentum, and a
Super
big part
nice.
of it is getting more people active and saying, hey, this is the XRP, L, and this is the XRP community, and people are building or designing or what have you, and they're at least putting dipping their toe in the water or putting their whole body in the water to say, hey, we're experimenting, we're playing with the space, we're testing the XRPL, and there's just so much to it. And I'm enthusiastic, that we're going to see a lot more coming from XRP Cafe, and now that they're bringing on some additional solid team members,
Yeah, he really helped
it
grow
speaks
Pancake
volumes.
Swap. He was
It
really
does.
instrumental in growing that, which is how he landed a spot at Ripple. And now
Yeah.
because of, coming off Ripple, Justin wants to know Jungle Inc. Where can I buy the lock-in hat at? I was kind of bummed out, Jeff, because after I moved to this new place, I have 2 bucket hats. I got a Ripple bucket hat that's white that I used to wear sometimes on Saturdays, and I got a black one too. I kind of sort of remember them. They were in a box somewhere. I don't even know where they are, but yeah, that lock-in hat, you got to know where to buy that. There you go. And then this one, right? Yeah. Hey, Jungle, welcome to the revolution. It's now being televised. There you go. I like that. It's being televised. So, and of course, it was interesting. They first started, they kind of spun up XRP Cafe, and those guys were working tireless hours, man. They really weren't monetizing the way they should. Now, they at least monetize a little bit. So when you launch an NFT project, you got to put some XRP up there, but it's the right thing to do. They need to keep the doors open. They need to keep the platform working. They get a very small fee. Like if they sell, if an NFT sells, it's not enough. Even with all the volume they've had, it needs to be more. Then they got the meme coins going with First Ledger, and now they've introduced a Joey Wallet, which is kind of cool. So it's interesting to see. Great. He said Bias started a technical community liaison at Ripple Dev, took over time. Over time, many roles support retail and institutional builders on XRPL to grow the system. Before jumping in the XRPL, he worked at Pancake Swap, grew the platform over many key global markets like LATAM. So welcome. It's really cool to see that. Really happy for him. He's a good dude. It's sometimes great when you get to hang out with some people in the space, Jeff. You don't get to
Yeah,
see
I
everybody.
would
but
love to
it's fun.
see, some more activity like that, just like we enjoyed ourselves at the Wave of Innovation over in Australia, and meeting all of our Australian supporters over there, and a lot of new people as well. But Chip, how many people have typed in Yeti up to this point?
We've got 11, Jeff. That's not a lot.
11. All right. Well,
think
we're gonna
Jungle-
roll
I don't
this.
think
We're gonna
Jungle
roll
typed
this
in yet.
song.
Roll it
Jungle
in there,
actually
man.
did.
Oh, did
Jungle
he?
actually
Okay,
did
good.
type in Yeti.
Nice.
If you haven't typed in Yeti and you don't know how to spell Yeti, you can just ask somebody in the crowd here and say, "Hey, how do you spell Yeti?" And then
I
try to
can't
type
tell you
it in.
because we'll end up winning, and then we'll hear rigged.
And there
That's
you
happened
go.
a couple times.
It has happened a few times.
Play
But
the
here we
song,
go.
the original
ready?
song for the
This is the
giveaway
original
tonight.
song for the giveaway tonight. Here we go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Play it.
Win a badass Yeti from the Blue Tribe. Word of the day. Yeti. You got your salmon wallet ready. Why? 'Cause this is gonna be epic. It's time. Time to claim your legendary Blue Tribe Yeti. Of the clan Titans. His name, Lofi. On the chain, badass yetis. One for battle, made for legend. Claim yours or be forgotten. Badass yetis on the chain.
Boom! Another banger from the mind of
Love
Jeff. That was a good
Man,
one.
it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, Mark wanted to know if it's PG rated. It is PG rated. Nothing was shown there that wasn't out of the ordinary. He likes the club and the Yeti
PG,
Lord.
PG
Yeah,
Lord.
Yeti hummus. That's what we
Yeti.
need. Some Yeti hummus. Yeah. Intro is fire, man. That was a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Lofi the Titan. Lofi. His name? Lofi. Are you still ineligible? Well, it's a new month. I don't think you've won in July yet, have you? I think he's
What's that?
eligible. I don't think Charles has won.
he has not won in July. So
Yeah, so
you
you're
are
eligible.
eligible. You're eligible.
Eligible.
We put that in place because Charles is like the most winningest of
I just keep telling him to start playing the lottery or something. Jeff the Maestro strikes again. Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Yeti Mama.
Yeti Mama. So Scooby Doo wants to know: do you guys edit
Jeff does.
these videos and graphics and music yourselves? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We do them all. We created the Badass Yetis. We do everything. Everything's here. It's a one-stop shop, man. Everything's here. It's all under one roof. It's all under one Yeti roof. One Yeti and Badass Chimp roof.
One Yeti hut.
And Yowie roof. The Yowies and
it's all
badassery.
badassery.
It's all badassery. That's the new name for the moniker Badassery, which is what it's going to be switching to. This was cool. I saw this. Jungle put this out. He goes, look at this 12 months. When you compare ETH to XRP, so over the past 12 months, XRP's up 400%, ETH is down 15%. And Ethereum, it's funny to see a lot of devs are jumping over there. There's a lot of nervousness going on. They try to scale and build quickly, but you see a lot of fall off. But it's not necessarily out of the game. It will run again eventually, according to Jungle. The real story, XRP won't be standing still. This cycle, XRP owns the large caps. Good call. Yep. It's leading with momentum, utility, and breakout price action. As ETH gears up, XRP will fly. Rotation's underway, and XRP is setting the pace. Stay sharp. This is not the same market as the last cycle. Look at the contrast, though. Now, I wish the price was there. No, I like overlaying this stuff, but I wish the price was in line. But still, it's a pretty stark.
Yeah, Ethereum has been pretty flat, but XRP also had some positive momentum at that point in time. had to make some gains and kind of get back into a, you know, a positive setting, you know, in terms of an increase at that point. It almost, you know, at this point, sitting where it was going to, or, you know, around the time of the initiation of the lawsuit on the behest of the SEC. So we don't know where it would have been, you know, had the whole SEC action not taken place. You know, we don't know where we'd be today in the crypto space. Who knows? Maybe XRP would have run. Maybe it wouldn't. You know, maybe it would have sat at 3. Maybe it would have been. We all would have been sitting at $100 right now. Who knows what would
I
happen?
mean, well, things are out. Listen, with this positive crypto, all this momentum coming, it's going to be great. And Jeff, we certainly know the word badassery, but do you know the word jackassery? Well, you're about to hear the word jackassery being dropped here for the first time. I've never heard it dropped before, but here it is. You know those funny videos where they take somebody famous and then they make a baby video of them, and somehow it becomes even funnier watching the baby who kind of looks like them. But this is Kennedy as a baby dropping the jackassery.
He needs to adult real hard, and the jackassery has to stop. And if you're unhappy with that, vote against it or fill out a hurt feelings report.
I love how people do that. That's so funny.
This is the greatest, though, right? I don't get tired of those baby videos, especially the one where Trump's sitting around the campfire telling jokes, you know, the dad jokes, and they sit there and they laugh at them. They're so bad that it's funny, you know. But I mean, look at how much he looks like him, though. Look at this. You know, the glasses.
It's amazing.
When the weird gray hair. Yeah. And the stutters are the same too. Look at the stutters.
Needs to adult real hard, and the jackassery has to stop.
Fill out a person's report or some of the feelings report. Yeah, what a national treasure, man.
That's right. Oh, hey, Chip, I've got another commercial for you.
What do you got? Let's put it on.
And roasted beans straight to your K monthly, without burning your wallet. No flow fads, just fucking great coffee. Hand picked, small batch, roasted, Yeti, approved. Hoda join, rebellion, drink like a legend. Badass YETIScoffee.com. The percolation never stops.
Never stops, bitches.
Never
Beautiful.
stops, Chip. There you
Badass Yeti's coffee, baby. You can get your some coffee, and people in the chat will tell you how good it is. It is roasted to order. Order comes in, gets roasted, gets sent out. So you got fresh roasted beans, which is a massive feat. It's a massive feat there for sure. Got a couple other videos on tap here. I wanted to put this one up. This was the I think we already played that one. Let's see. Oh yeah, this was kind of weird. I didn't expect this. You know, Scott Bessent's been fantastic, right? He's been really weird. He's got a little ornery in this video clip right here, though, Jeff. He was on with Dana Bash. Listen to this. I was kind of surprised by it a little bit.
Elon's been saying that he would like to fight you in the octagon at the White House. What is your response to Elon Musk, Mr. Secretary?
Well, my response to Elon Musk is really simple. He better chill the fuck out before he gets knocked the fuck down again. If he wants another black eye like the last one I gave him, tell him to holla at Scotty B. This ain't no motherfucking game, nigga. I own these streets.
Whoever's hitting that button was a little late on the beepery button. Man. That's got to be AI, right, Jeff?
That's it.
Scotty B. Scotty B. I like that. I'm gonna start calling him Scotty B. He ain't taking anything. Scotty B. That's great. Yeah, I figured that has to be AI. How about this? How about this kid right here?
So? You think that was AI?
It might have been. I'm not sure. It looked real, but listen, here's you know, every once in a while you get a kid that like shows up somewhere and he tells a funny joke. This is one of those occasions.
I want to tell a joke. It's about all this stuff. So Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Nancy Pelosi are all in an airplane together with the pilot. So Obama says, I'm going to throw this $100 bill out the window and make one American happy. And Hillary says, I'm going to throw $200 out the window and make 2 Americans happy. And Nancy Pelosi says, I'm going to throw 100 $100 bills out the window and make 100 Americans happy. And the pilot says, I can throw all 3 of you out the window and make all of America happy. I speak facts.
I speak facts.
My God. That kid made that joke up. I bet his parents told him that joke. Come on. I speak facts. I speak facts. You gotta love that, man. I speak facts.
Oh my God.
You know, Jeff, I keep talking about
one. I love that.
I keep talking about when I cut my hair. I thought maybe this is what I'll think about getting this haircut right here. Look at this.
Short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities.
So you can see he's cutting Donald Trump into the back of this dude's head.
Oh my God.
Military success.
Can you imagine that, Jeff, having that on your... Guy's pretty good, though. He's a pretty good artist with hair. This guy's solid.
Amazing. That'd be freaking awesome, though. Look at that. Oh my God.
Imagine standing in line, someone's looking at that, the back of your head. I mean, that's just
awesome.
too much, man.
It is so amazing.
Look at that. He even has the tie. He's got the shirt and tie and everything. The big old waft of hair back there. That is something, huh?
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Gosh, what a true artist, man.
I know
it's
I couldn't get it done.
Well, we can draw it. We can get it tattooed on your head and permanent.
It's true. Yeah.
I can draw it on it with a Sharpie.
Trump. That's it.
As you're drawing it on with a Sharpie.
Stitch
a permanent one too.
In the back. Right.
What do you think about that?
That would be perfect. There we go. Permanent Sharpie.
You could definitely do something along those ideas. And one of the things Elon Musk was talking about was this third party, Jeff. And so Trump finally spoke out on it here.
Yeah. Man.
Elon Musk starting a third party. I think it's ridiculous to start a third party. We have a tremendous success with the Republican Party. The Democrats have lost their way, but it's always been a two-party system. And I think starting a third party just adds to confusion. It really seems to have been developed for two parties. Third parties have never worked. So he can have fun with it, but I think it's ridiculous.
He can have fun with it.
Yeah, I saw a video. It was a little bit long, but it was somebody who stepped through every time a third party was introduced. And he also talked about Ross Perot. I thought it was 15%. It was actually 19% of the vote that he filtered off Republicans, and that's how Bill Clinton won. Otherwise, he would have lost. But he filtered off, and that was a Republican vote. Democrats weren't voting for Ross Perot, and it was 19% of the vote. And then somebody made a comment on that, Jeff, and they said, well, that's interesting because the Democrats only have 19% approval rating. So there's I mean, who knows?
It's definitely problematic. And if he does do it, it's only like, even, again, what happened with Clinton it's just going to, happen again. And we can't have another party like that. You already have, you have these libertarians out there, that, cause some chaos, but for the most part, libertarians will vote Democrat, so we're not so worried about that. But if Elon Musk does create this America party, he is going to siphon off voters, and there could be a lot of independent voters. Don't confuse the independent voters with libertarians because they're not the same. But, if you get the independent voter who typically will vote Republican for the most part, but they just don't vote in the primaries. So you'll take an independent voter that would then look at Elon Musk and say, hey, I think you're doing the right thing. And all of a sudden, those independent votes are going to go towards Musk. And then you have some of the Democrats that are voting Republican that would end up voting, for that third party. And, and then all of a sudden you get the next Democrat, potentially winning, potentially, so it's a bad idea. Our system of government wasn't really built that way. And so here we go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't think Musk is going to do it though.
I don't think so either. I think he's poking the bear. This is what I think. He loves to just poke the bear. This is all goofiness. He's talking about socialism. He's having a great time. And if you look at any prominent person that left the White House, especially in the first term with Trump, they were all Trump loyalists. I said, we called it here, Jeff, that DeSantis and Trump were always paired up. They were always friendly. And with DeSantis by running, what he did was he filtered off all of the rhino money. He got all the rhino money and buried it, basically. So he was the candidate that they wanted to prop up. They raised all the rhino money. The Bushes and all those rhinos were behind him. You know, Paul Ryan, they were the rhinos of the party. Rhino, R-I-N-O, Republican in name only, which means basically a Democrat. He is a master troller. That's exactly right. Scooby-Dooby-Doos.
He knows what,
hey,
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. Hey, Scoob. It's exactly what he's doing. He's having so much fun. And it's like this fake fight that they have going on. It was, because look at everybody that left the White House. They started something and they don't like him anymore. Then they became popular again because, they're fighting with Trump and nobody likes them. It was a way to get them back assimilated into what they were doing before without being hated and having their car dealerships burned down, right, Jeff?
Yeah, well, especially with Musk, because he put everything on hold in order to help Trump to, establish the Doge, and the Department of Government Efficiency was critical. It was really, really important. Everything they're doing, he brought in the right candidates, the right players. Then he goes back and, all of a sudden, financially speaking, Tesla's literally, being burnt to the ground because of these insane protesters. All of a sudden, protesters went from the kumbaya hippies of the 60s that would stage sit-ins to now people think it's okay, to trash city blocks and burn shit down, burn down buildings, steal and destroy other people's property, meaning like with the Teslas, they're just randomly burning people's Teslas, going after dealerships. Again, this is a privately owned business that, someone's selling vehicles. You have employees there. These people are out of their minds. They're just absolutely nuts, and we're seeing more and more of these protesters. There was another one. There was a car show someplace, and these lunatics super glued themselves to Ferraris that were at this show, at this car show. And those Ferraris probably belong to somebody. So now they're super gluing themselves to the hoods of these vehicles. They're lunatics. They shouldn't even be out in normal society. Liberalism is a mental disease. These people are mentally off their rockers. They don't deserve to live in civil society. And they got to be pushed somehow at some point with the lunatics that were running the White House. They allowed these insane people, and they just propped them up. They patted them on the back. They allowed them to run, freely. And we still see it. Chicago, but we see it in California. You still got crazy people, running the insane asylum. And, at some point you got to get rid of them. You can't, continue this way. And thank God we have grownups that are in the White House and running, running government, at this point. Not all of them, so vandalism, not protesting.
It's
they're just nuts.
It's disrespectful.
Well, it's a whole different level.
And for those of you who
exactly,
they're paid protesters. But this is interesting here. Reagan called it, and talk about Jeff Hippie Red. Talk about how spot on this is, Jeff. Listen to this. This is Reagan talking about this how many years ago? 40 years ago, 40 some years ago. Listen to this.
Whoa, history is literally repeating itself. Check this out.
You ever notice how every time a Republican takes office, the Democrats start acting like it's the end of the world? I mean, the minute we cut taxes or trim the budget, they start screaming that the sky is falling. Now, don't get me wrong, I admire their consistency. If the stock market surges, they say it's just helping the rich. And if it crashes, they say, yep, that's what happens under Republican leadership. And don't even get me started on foreign policy. A Republican president could be shaking hands with world leaders and signing peace deals, and they'd say, it must be appeasement. But the minute there's tension overseas, they rush to the nearest camera like it's Black Friday saying, see, we told you the world would catch fire if he was in charge. Now, I've always said, it's fine to disagree on policy. That's democracy. But if your best shot at winning is hoping the American people lose, well, maybe you're in the wrong country.
That's right.
There you go.
100%. Yeah. Thank God for Reagan. Think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God for Reagan. I mean, he was like really the first strong conservative. But even Trump, I find, was more conservative in his first term on policy. You look at the Abraham, the peace accord. You look at that's going to even go to another new level when he gets out of office. But this wasn't. I found this one to be really interesting, Jeff. Look what's going on in Mexico right now. It sounds very interesting.
These protesters in Mexico City say cross-border migration is changing their country's capital for the worse. Over the last decade, an influx of mostly American so-called digital nomads have moved here to work remotely and also enjoy a cheaper cost of living. Protesters say the newcomers have driven up rents beyond the reach of locals.
If they're going to live in a country, they have to contribute to that country. The first and simplest issue is legal migration. They come here with visas or no visas, and still the change in purchasing power generates these problems of gentrification and displacement.
I'm here because gentrification is just one more step towards colonization, dispossession, and the exploitation of our resources. Right now it's about the people, but it won't be long before they run out of oil, water, or lithium in other countries and come and take them from us.
A pretty strong statement, right, Jeff?
So this whole narrative is so fictitious, and it's ludicrous to the point. When I was working down in Mexico City, and I had one of the guys I was working with down there kind of brought me around, saw some bad areas, saw some really nice areas. I went to some of the best steakhouses I think I've ever been to in Mexico City. I was in Zona Rosa, walking around over there, by myself, going out for sushi at a Japanese place. Like the whole area is just really nice in some areas. And then again, other areas bad, but there's what, like 20 million people, 25 million people that live in Mexico City. There's a whole segment that is just so impoverished. And so, as I start getting into different conversations and try to understand like the dynamic there, whereas the government focuses their attention on the middle class and the wealthy, and there's definitely a nice middle class in Mexico, and it's not safe for them either, because for the most part they have bars on their houses, they have bars on their front gates, they have to be careful with pretty much everything they do, where they go, how they bank, how much money they bank, how much money they keep at each bank, who's following them. So they have to keep like X amount of dollars, and they might have, 5, 6, 7 different banks they go to, because you can't have too much money. You can't show too. And so that was like internal struggles within the societal dynamic. But yet again, you have a nice middle class over there, and there's definitely money in Mexico, but yet the Mexican government has X amount of their GDP is reliant on money that comes in from, the US, basically, meaning they send workers, and they know they're sending workers, and they actually educated, this goes way back, goes back a number of years, but they would educate the citizens on how to get across the border, and then what to do and what to say when you get on the other side of the border, because they know that there's an expectation of money flowing back into their country, because those workers that would come into the country they were here working, they're sending the majority of their money back. And so that was so that was already a government plan, to have all of that happen, because they didn't want to take care of that percentage of the population, which was a larger percentage. What these guys are saying, it's again an interesting dynamic, because now they're worried about the increase in rents, and I get it. You have a subset of people coming from this country that are going there because they want a lower cost of living, and as soon as you start getting more and more, they're bringing US dollars in, obviously you're also going to see a spike or a bump up in the cost of goods. You're going to see a bump up in the cost of real estate, because the local economy is going to take advantage of the knowing that there's people coming there. There's a demand spike. And so it does make it more challenging for them. But instead of them realizing that this could also be a good thing, that now you have more money flowing in, and these people are coming into their country, they're spending their money in Mexico, they're renting from real estate, from landlords or real estate holders. So their money is being injected back into the Mexican economy. And yet these people are they're coming from more of a Marxist, socialist identity, similar to what happened in Venezuela. It's the same type of argument where they just want to continue getting government handouts. They want to keep society at a minimal norm. They don't want advancement in society. They don't want to take it to the next level. They want what they've always had. And I can compare this to a similar, situation a number of years ago. Flint, Michigan was going through plant closings, and I remember they interviewed this one guy, and he must have been like 30 years old. And the interviewer said, why, tell me about your story about what does this mean for you if they're closing the plants. Now, keep in mind that at that point, that General Motors was going to relocate them to another state so they could continue working. But these people wanted to stay in Flint, Michigan. They didn't want to leave their state. And yet they had jobs elsewhere that would have been provided for them. And what this guy said, he said, I want to make sure that my grandchildren have some place to work. Meaning and these plants that were in Flint, Michigan were like from the turn of the century, super old, antiquated, and they weren't 100% up to safety standards, etc. So they had to tear them down. They had to move on, but they fought to make sure that they kept plants open so their grandchildren had some place to work. That's the same mindset as to what we're hearing from these people. They don't want better for their next generation, right? And that's the same thing here. They don't see it. They don't want anything better. Yeah, so there's like two sides to her story there. What's that?
But it's also driving up the cost of
It
living.
is.
Someone happened in San Francisco, huge
both
influx
sides
of
of it.
people.
Yeah. Yep.
It drives it up. But this, let's listen to this.
Many Americans in Mexico are able to still receive high salaries in dollars from U.S. companies by working on laptops from their apartments.
The government is directing its public policies towards people with higher purchasing power, often illegally displacing local populations who have lived in these neighborhoods for 40, 50, and we have even documented cases of up to 60 years. In 5 years, rents have increased by 47%. This is violent for the local population. We are debating whether to pay for electricity, water, or food. Of course, we choose to eat.
It's not all Americans too. It's gentrification happening from a rising Mexican middle class that's
right.
on the rise, right? So it's not. I guess some of it's digital nomads, and they also talked. They also pointed out the people that are in Mexico that are working for American companies, so they're getting usually a better salary, so things are getting better all around. But I would invite these people to go talk to people who who have 80 or 100 years of their families living in San Francisco that got bounced out of it because they couldn't afford it anymore. This has happened everywhere. It happens everywhere. It does. It's not something unique.
Some activists blame Mexico's government for encouraging them. However, there's no simple fix. Imposing tougher visa restrictions on Americans could worsen relations with the U.S. Mexican citizens in the U.S. also send billions of dollars in remittances back to their families in Mexico. In a world where travel and communication are faster and easier than ever, these two nations are finding it harder to have neighborly relations.
So what are we saying? Oh, yes. See, you guys only watch CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, and ABC and CBS, so on and so forth, right? So they neglect to show you what's actually happening in Mexico, but Anton from AntonDaniels.com is definitely going to continue to have the conversation on what is happening in Mexico, specifically in this instance, Mexico City. They don't want Americans there, and they saying take your punk ass dollars and go back to where you came from, because we don't want you bringing your spending power and gentrifying what we got going over here in Mexico. They don't want you there, even though you come over here and you send a whole bunch of money back to Mexico.
Yeah, imagine they're human beings.
Yeah,
they want
crazy.
exactly this. They see the same thing happening to their country and their towns
Right.
that happen everywhere. Nobody likes it. I mean, it's not something where you get in line like, hey, it's great. My family spent 60 years here, and guess what? We can't afford to live here anymore. We got to move further from the city. I mean, that's an unfortunate thing, Jeff, that happens everywhere. And I mean, there's nothing. By the way, it was just July 4th. Also, too, I want to do a shout out to Troyer. It's his first On the Chain podcast. Welcome. Good to have another person joining the
nice
OTC fam. So welcome. But it was just, and I saw this going around on July 4th, but I thought this was somewhat funny. It's poking some humor Well, that too. There is something nice about that, whatever it is, home sweet home. But I saw this video making the rounds on July 4th.
Arrived in the colonies because there was some bitching over a tiny 3% tax. Not that big a deal, but whatever. This shit'll be easy. What the actual fuck? Where the hell are they? Unless they're lined up 10 feet in front of me wearing bright blue uniforms, I can't see them. These guys are such assholes. What kind of a dickhead doesn't line up in a straight line and patiently take turns shooting one another? Sir, these colonials are worse than gonorrhea. They hide behind trees and pick us off while we pass through single file wearing bright red. And you would know, Corporal, even though we're the superpower of the world, we still don't know how to counter this ingenious tactic of hiding behind trees. God damn, we've been here 8 years and are just getting our shit pushed in. These boys weren't kidding. They really do hate taxes. Okay, this is our last stand. We may have a chance if we just... Nope. Shit. Never mind, those ass-smelling French are here. I'm here in place of Cornwallis, because apparently he's really sick today, to deliver terms of surrender to that giant stud right there.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it, Jeff?
So funny. I love that.
It's funny how they poke fun at that stuff. You gotta really love it, man.
Oh my god,
you gotta love it.
It's like, we have a chance. Nope.
Justin says he can't stand Anton Daniel because he makes everything about race on his channel. Yeah, he puts out some good things. I've seen him talk about some good things, but yeah, sometimes he does bring it down to that. But you know, but yeah, sometimes he puts even like he was taking a negative turn with that as well, saying it's like, listen, this is a human thing. This is not necessarily something in Mexico. It happens here in the U.S. It happens to all, especially older neighborhoods that, once the gentrification happens, they put up a brand new bunch of townhomes. The rents in the area start going up. More people want to live there. They put in some shopping, some better shopping places, some better bodegas, and all of a sudden, people want to move and live there, and it's a safer area, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's. I was just putting it to show the
Greenwich
contrast.
Village, the Lower East Side, that whole area around the Village in New York City. That was really, really bad, and now it's probably the most sought after place to live. And the rent and real estate's ridiculously priced. But Mexico City wasn't, super cheap to be. There were both sides of it. Again, some of the best steakhouses that I've been to are over there, and they weren't cheap. And this is years ago. They weren't cheap. But man, the steakhouses there were just on a different level.
Okay, guys, really this is it. It's your last chance. We got 27 entries. You have one last chance to type it in. Well, let's go, everybody.
I got to play the song first.
Play it.
Hang on. Let me play the song. I got to find it. Here we go. Gonna roll it.
Roll it.
Win a badass Yeti from the Blue Tribe. Word of the day. Yeti. You got your salmon wallet ready. Why? 'Cause this is gonna be epic. It's time to claim your legendary Blue Tribe Yeti of the clan Titans. His name, Lofi. Badass Yetis on the chain.
Tim D says that Yeti Femi dancer is a hottie.
That's right.
Yeah. When I first watched it, I was like, yeah, she sure stays on the screen a long time, doesn't she? Zober's in there with Yeti. We got 29 guys. Okay, we have enough to go. Let's
Promised
go.
a lot of airtime. Wait,
put
if
the
there's
background
29,
song on.
this is what's going to get you number 30 right here. Hang on. Oh, let me share my screen real quick. Hang on.
Yeah.
By the way, this is him right here. That's Lofi, the Titan, and it's Badass Yeti number 2.
Ooh, number 2.
Number 2.
Number
Who's
2.
number
Lofi.
1? You are number
Loki bread. Lofi.
Lofi. Is Lofi?
Logi is mine. Uh-oh.
No,
Well, you know what, Osmond, if you did win, you would be disqualified because you're only one winner per month. Hummus is the word. What's the word?
But you know what? That defeats now, because then if somebody wins, then they might not want to try
Like
to
a
throw their.
steamy number 2. Yeah. He's
'Cause
the
they can
shit,
win
says
and
chat. Number
give it
2,
away.
baby. All right, guys. Go ahead. Say what you have to say. Whatever you
Throw it
say,
up
don't
there.
say it's rigged, because it's not rigged. You know, watch me click
Rigged.
the button here. Ready?
Wait, you got to
Rigged.
throw it up. No, we can't see the screen.
Hang on. Put the song
There
on.
we-
Put the background song.
Oh,
Badass
hang
Yeti.
on. Hang on.
It's got to create the
Badass
atmosphere
Yeti.
here. Got to create the atmosphere.
There we go.
Atmospheric. Got to create some atmosphere.
Atmospheric.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
Badass Yeti.
All right, guys. And if you're that last person right before the win, I'm sorry. That's just the way it works. Ready? Go. Who's it going to be?
Badass Yeti.
Who's it going to be? Zober. Winner, Zober dinner. There it is, Zober, the big winner here. I know he's won recently, but not this month. So there you go, Zober. Congratulations.
Zober won in
is
May.
yours. Yeah, he won
Zober
back
won
in
in
May.
May.
Nice. Well, you're good. You're good to go then. Loofer. It's Lofi. It's Lofi. So you're gonna proud owner Lofi. Go ahead. You know the drill. We need your
Well, you got to be here.
wallet address. We're gonna need your X handle.
And you got to
know
say
you're
I'm
here
here.
because you already have been chiming in all along. So Mark's like, it's so rigged. I'm going to get some hummus. Why not? Mark, have you ever won? I mean, I don't know if Mark's ever won or not. Rug pull. Congrats. Yeah.
Osman won.
Yeah, Osman won last time. Yeah.
That's right.
Your rug is still under your feet, I see. Zober the robber. He's been called the robber. Osman won last time. He's called him a robber. That's so funny. I love it. I love it. All right.
I'm trying to log into
do.
YouTube to see if he's
Got
commenting.
to go into YouTube there to see if we can throw the wall. I don't know why we don't see it. It's so weird, Jeff. I don't understand it personally.
I wish they would show it to us.
I
And
don't know
the
why
thing
we don't
is,
see it, but
I haven't seen. Oh, there's Zober. He said loafed. Loafy like bread.
oh, you know what?
But is he? Oh, I'm in top chat. Let me go to live chat. There's Zober. Got it.
Done. Beautiful.
All right, I'm going to transfer this bad boy over to you right now. Let me get ready to transfer him. It's going to be quick. Watch this.
Do we have his X handle too?
We do, yeah.
It's weird how it showed the wallet address in here, which is weird. I got no Yetis, but I have red pepper spicy hummus. Yes, okay. That's all we.
That
what
might
else-
be
what
even
more
more
do you
important.
need?
I don't know.
That and your new PhD, man. You are golden. You are a golden child.
PhD,
for sure.
that's right.
Broth is coming. Broth is coming for Zober. Zober. Zober.
Get
You
ready,
guys are awesome.
Zober.
We're only
Get
awesome
ready.
when you win. We're not that awesome any other time.
Here we
Zober.
go. Verifying.
Yeah.
Transfer has been
Lofi.
submitted. It's verifying to
Lofi
see
is
if
on his
you're
way.
legit.
Legit.
Too legit to quit. That's it. You got it.
Too legit. Too
That
legit
is Yeti
to
number
quit.
2, Lofi, now belongs
Lofi.
to Sober.
Long
Langjorn.
John. Yeah, JC won. I think won twice. He's got 2 Yetis in his collection there.
Nice.
Mark Smithson.
Sober.
The next time I win, it's yours, brother. Look at that. Mike's already volunteering his next Yeti. That's very cool.
That's
going to hold you to it, Mike. Which means you're guaranteed not to win because but you're now guaranteed Mike not to win. That's what you just did. Hey, we just clicked the button, man.
It's going to happen.
We just clicked. Catherine
we
says,
play the
well,
music.
congrats, over. Beautiful to hear that. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Mike. That's awesome. We've seen that too. Jim D was winning for a little bit too, and he was giving it, he was giving it up and
He
gifting
was,
it. So,
yeah.
so
It's
we
interesting how
saw
that happens. kind of happens. And
that's how the
like,
OCC is a giving community, man. On the chain,
that's right.
baby. Badass Yetis.
Badass Yetis.
Yeah, these Yeti transfers are quick lately. Not 30-minute exercise when the giveaway started. Yeah, well, we try to do it on time, but sometimes it's away from us. Try to get this to 60 minutes, but it happens.
It happens.
It happens. All right, so now I'm going to go into. We haven't done it in a while.
What's that?
We haven't played this. Remember this one, Jeff? When it went haywire.
That was the beginning of our technical glitches.
You were talking and it went beep, 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 and somebody clipped it. That was when my hair was going on its way to being long, but it wasn't quite there yet. Then this one.
The usual, sir. Please.
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 Please. Yeah, the usual, sir. Please. This was the reaction when Zober won. A lot of excitement when Zober wins. Gosh, man, it's crazy.
It's fired up.
It's a lot of excitement going around. So, all right, people, that's it. I believe that's the show, right? I believe that's it. We're out of here.
That's it. We'll be back Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Charles. Thank you very much. He'll be back Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I might not be here Wednesday night.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
So it's actually Tamara's birthday. So
well, that's a good excuse. That's right.
How crazy is that? Your birthday's tomorrow, and then she's a couple days after you.
I got another buddy on the 8th, and then she's on the 9th. It's amazing, man. It's very cool.
And it's my parents' anniversary also.
Wow, look at that. That's a double shot. I got Ringo's birthday and peace and love. Peace and love.
But I think we're doing our official celebration on over the weekend, I think.
We did ours, by the way. We did our official celebration on Saturday, which is yesterday. So
that's right. You did some cool stuff.
We did some celebrating yesterday, and there might be some more celebrating going on tonight. We'll see.
Yeah,
it's gonna turn into a birthday week, which turns into a birthday month, which turns into a birthday back 9, which turns into like the next 6 months until you're reminded of your next birthday. That's how it works.
That's how it works. That's what happens.
That's how it works. That's how it works, Jeff.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we know, guys. We will see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.